Three, two, one. Broadcasting tape delayed from Canton, Ohio. What's in Canton, Ohio, JP?
The NFL Hall of Fame.
That's right, where there's at least three Cleveland Browns. Right on. The Sports Economy Show is on. So today's show is all about NFL rookie contracts and how much they get paid from the number one draft pick down to what's the last draft, like a 180?
What is it, seventh round? I think it's seventh
Yes.
round, right?
Something. Anyway, it's
Yeah,
way down. Anyway, whatever it is. So anyway, we're not going to talk about each and every one.
yeah.
We're just going to bring out some highlights and lowlights and some other sort of things. But anyway, I have an article that I'm going to. It's just part of an article from USA Today.
Yeah.
So I just want to read this and then we can get started. All right.
All right.
So USA Today says according to Article 7 of the NFL's collective bargaining agreement, the CBA, very important deal. NFL rookie contracts are fixed and unalterable. Those taken in the first round of the NFL draft receive a 4-year contract with a 5th-year option, meaning their base salary and contract is fully guaranteed. And this next part is kind of vague about the next rounds, which I don't really understand it. You know, it's lawyer stuff, I assume. Anyway, those taken in rounds 2 through 7 of the draft are given a slightly different contract than the first round picks. As noted in the NFL CBA, those drafted on day 2 and 3 will receive a 4-year rookie deal with their prospective NFL teams. As for undrafted free agents, they receive a 3-year contract. It doesn't say any of that is guaranteed, but it says they get I'm not talking about the undrafted free agents. I'm talking about the people that are drafted. It says they receive a 4-year deal, but it doesn't say it's guaranteed. So all I know is your first round is guaranteed. So that's a pretty big deal.
That is pretty good. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah,
And
so you have a 4-year
that doesn't
guaranteed
mean
deal.
that you're guaranteed to stay with the team, but you're guaranteed to get some money from it.
Yes.
So like especially, a lot of times they manipulate it. So if they cut you, they only have to give you a certain percentage of the money, right? Because you are a rookie. 4 years is a long time. So this is my understanding, right? You signed a 4-year contract, but it will cost them on the salary cap, right?
Yes.
But they have ways of manipulating what you actually get paid. It's not, they're not making a ton of money, right? So they can manipulate it with a signing bonus and give you a certain amount and get you out of there if you really are a complete bust.
Yeah, the teams are the controllers of this.
Yeah.
They're not going to cut themselves short.
No.
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 No, they're not cutting themselves short. So
first round or not, if you can't
yeah,
play,
yeah,
you're not going to be there in 4 years.
yeah. That's right. Yeah, it's like, well, after 2.5 years, you're like, you're not really working out, so we have a way to get out of this. Yeah,
Right.
that is better for us than paying your whole salary. I don't, however it works out, I don't know.
Right.
There are a lot of lawyers involved in writing these contracts up. I'll bet you when you sit down to sign your rookie contract, it probably takes an hour and a half.
Oh, well, I mean, that's why they have lawyers, man. They have these
Yeah,
agents, man. These agents get paid a lot of money. And,
yeah.
it's a lot like the agents are a lot like a real estate agent. If
Oh
you don't
yeah,
have a good one,
yeah, yeah,
you could find out pretty quickly that it's something's been missed and you've gotten jerked over, you know.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so, I mean, the agents are worth every
yeah,
dime they get.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why the big agents get paid because they know everything about these contracts.
Right.
You
Not
know.
only can they, maneuver their players.
Mhm.
It's not just about getting their players, in the right place or the best
Yeah.
deal. It's about crossing everything
Uh-huh.
that needs to be done.
Yeah.
You're not, that's why I don't understand how these guys say, yeah, I ain't got an agent. I'm just gonna do it on my own.
Yeah.
I To me, I would guess the teams would probably be like, okay,
Yeah. Well,
okay,
I heard somewhere, I don't know, but my favorite team here, Cleveland,
well, yeah,
they have a, I forget who the player is, but he signed a contract with Cleveland that is not the best deal
yeah,
because it's like really, really incentive laden. And if he gets hurt and can't make these incentives, he's getting nothing. So that's, I don't know who come up with that.
yeah. I couldn't do that in football.
Yeah. Now, granted, the team has incentives, and they're going to work it out the best they can, but you have to throw in some sort of guarantees because you're playing, and the possibility of you getting hurt is real on every play.
Every single play.
Every play.
Yeah,
Now, you know who Mark McGuire is, right?
yeah,
Now, later in his career, he did a contract himself. He didn't have an agent, but he had been in the leagues, been in baseball so long, he knew what he wanted. And he just said he worked it out himself because it was easy because he had signed so many contracts.
right.
But that's if you've been there a long time. If this is your first or second go around, you better get you a good agent. Yo, yeah. Because you're walking in there as a 23-year-old kid going, wow, look at this. And then you end up like Johnny Manziel, who played for Cleveland.
Listen, and uh, I don't care how good of a player you are. Well, you know what? Now with the NIL money, I guess they have to have agents in college, right? So
The players have agents in college.
right. So I guess you have to do it now. If you're a good player, you have to have an agent. Because I
Yeah.
mean, it's just like, I'll never forget, man, being in college, my professor trying to tell us that you're gonna be broke as hell when you first get out in the real world. They're like, yeah, you'll be lucky to make a job making $25,000. And everybody in the classroom was literally like, $25,000. You know what I could do for
Yeah.
25 do with $25,000? And he was literally like, no, man, you're gonna be broke as hell.
Yeah.
You gotta have bills. You're gonna have to pay for rent.
Yeah.
And we were all like, shoot, 25,000. I'm living like a king. We're 21 years old, man. We're like, okay,
Yeah.
sign me up. So I mean, so like these college guys, man, these college guys come out there and they say, yeah, we'll give you $3.5 million.
Yeah.
They'll probably be like, I'll take it. In
I'll
reality,
take it.
if they don't have an agent,
Yeah.
that 3.5 million isn't exactly what it seems.
Because your lifestyle changes.
That's
You
right.
know, you
You
want
got
to you want to you want to drive the Bentley, you want to drive the McLaren, or you want both, whatever. Then you're like, holy cow, I got these cars. I'm paying taxes on these cars. I got this house. I'm paying property tax on this
That's
house.
right.
On, and then it just starts piling up. Like ESPN did a show called Broke.
Yeah. Right. You
Yeah,
know, you
you
can't
know,
have all your boys. You can't
no,
have,
you can't have
20
all
of
your
your
boys.
friends and be
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna bring all of them along with me.
yeah,
You like
yeah,
you realize that money goes by quick, you
yeah.
know.
Charles Barkley brought that up. Like, yeah, they're your friends, but you're not bringing them with you.
No,
Because if you do,
you're
he said,
still gonna be with them, is what it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
You know.
He said he told a story once where he talked to Dr. J because he was on the team, and Dr. J goes, "Well, how many cars you got?" "Well, I got three." "Well, how many you drive at a time?" "Well, one." "Well, why do you need three?" He was trying to give him advice.
Right.
This ain't going to last forever.
No.
If you're lucky, you're going to get 10 years. The average NFL player is probably 3 to 4 years,
Right.
you know?
And as much as pro athletes make, uh, it's funny how the economy changes as well, right? So like,
Yeah.
like look at all these players that in the mid '80s were making, like star players. Like, I'm just gonna throw out somebody like Joe Montana. So if Joe Montana, I don't know exactly what
He's probably making like $1.2 million.
right. So let's just say
Yeah.
he was making $2 million,
Yeah.
right? $2 million, and you think, well, Joe Montana is going to be living like a king for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
But then 25 years later, if Joe Montana doesn't make any more money,
Yeah.
he's just living like everybody else,
Yeah.
So it's like you really have to take that in consideration. Bobby Bonilla, took advantage of it. So Bobby Bonilla gets money every single year for Mets, so he will never be broke. And that's what you really have to do.
You have to take that money just like anybody else with any other job and plan for the future, because one day you're not going to be working.
That's right.
It's just the deal.
Everybody goes through it.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
So you were reading the article. Were you finished with your rounds?
What? Oh no, I've got a whole list here.
All right.
Of what people get paid.
Give me some more. So what do the second rounders make?
Oh, I just went to the first round. The first round, you're making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
In the second round, okay, so the last person in the first round is making gets a contract of 4 years. It's worth $13 million. The whole contract.
Yeah, on average. Yeah.
On average, if they play the 4 years, they're getting $13 million. The next tier drops down.
That's $13 million for the 4 years.
Yes, altogether you get the first year, first year plus second year plus third year plus.
So anyway, that's what you get. $4.5 million a year.
About they break it a little different, but yes, that's what it is. That's what it is. So your second round picks, you're dropping down to about $8 to $9 million for their total contract. And then the third round, you're dropping down to below 5. And then when you get to Shedour Sanders, which is the number 144 pick, I wrote his down.
Yeah.
His total contract, since he was in the 5th round, $4,646,000 before taxes, mind you. So his first year is going to be less than $1 million, $940,000 for his first year contract. So so once you start dropping past the second round, that money starts going down fast.
And guess what? Fifth round pick isn't guaranteed. So
no,
you pretty much can be cut at any time.
Yeah.
And
they don't have to finish paying out that contract.
No. Yeah. And I saw a thing where going into the draft, a lot of people thought he was going to be a top 5 pick, right?
Yeah.
They thought, okay, if he's not drafted by Tennessee at number 1, then he's going to probably be drafted by the Giants.
Yeah.
And so, which would have been the 3rd pick, right? And they said that, if he was to be with the Giants, if he was drafted by the Giants, he was probably going to be making about $12 million a year, right?
Yeah.
For the 4 years, right?
Yeah.
They said maybe about 11. Cam Ward was projected to be almost $49 million for the 4 years, which is the first.
Yeah,
pick.
Cam Ward's is $43 million.
Yeah.
It's
what
people are looking at.
Yeah. So that's so basically, even if Shedour was in the top 3, he would probably be making about $10 million, right? A year. Yeah. And now as a 5th round pick, he's gonna be less than $1 million.
He's averaging around $1 million a year. Which is not chump change for any stretch of the imagination.
Oh, okay.
To the regular fan out there,
right? And listen, let's not cry. Let's not cry a river for Shedour Sanders.
No,
Shedour Sanders made a ton of money in college, and he's going to continue to make money. And it's not like his family is broke.
Yes, that's right.
I mean,
Dion's on a commercial every other
yeah, yeah,
show, making the duck commercials or whatever, and the
right,
pigeon commercial. He's the voice of a pigeon, you know.
right. Dion is literally his own business. Like
Yeah,
his name and his face
yeah,
is basically supplies money to so many people. You
yeah,
know, I mean, it's just like LeBron James, right? Well, it's not just LeBron James. It's the fact that what LeBron James brings, so many people make money off of LeBron James, you know?
yeah,
So as much
yeah,
money as he makes, think about all the people who wouldn't be making money if it
yeah,
wasn't for just that one person, you
yeah.
know? And Deion Sanders is the
He
exact
he
same way. It's literally
he's
like,
he's an industry of himself.
right, and he really has been that way since he got to Florida State way back in the 80s. Like he
Yeah,
literally got to a point where he created a character of
yeah,
prime time, and he literally made the cornerback position as
yeah.
one of the least amount of
When when
least
he
paid positions to a position that got paid like a damn quarterback.
yeah, when he started the phrase "the house that Dion built,"
Right.
you
You
know,
know,
that's when it just took off.
prime time.
Prime
Literally,
time.
Dion is really uh he's a just phenomenal as far as money. So
Yeah,
Shedour Sanders, if Shedour Sanders literally, he's like Bronny James. If
yeah,
Shedour Sanders decided, you know what, I'm good.
yeah.
And Cleveland know what I mean. I'm not gonna keep
What?
shuffling around in the NFL. I'll be all right. He'll be okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the one thing about it is Bronny James. Nobody ever really gave him the treatment that Shador got. Everybody's like Shador's this greatest quarterback ever, but he's really not. If his skills were what Jalen Hurts' skills are, he would have been drafted in the first round without an issue. But he
Well,
brings he brings a circus to town with Dion, and the only team that wanted that was Cleveland because they need the publicity.
we'll see. Okay. Here's what I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah,
No, I don't think any of the quarterbacks in this draft were like last year. Last year, you had three right off of the bat that were really prime time quarterbacks. Drake May, Caleb Williams, and Jalen Davis, right? And you also had people who they were literally like, "Oh, well, Bo Nix, he's just all right?" But
yeah,
he was good. He was a really, really good quarterback. All of those guys, if they were in this draft, they would have been number one. If there was just one of them, they would
yeah.
have been number one. They would have been over Cam
Uh-huh.
Ward, and they would have been over Shedour. But I will say, Shedour Sanders, if you just watch him, is a very good quarterback. And now, do I think there was a possibility he should have dropped out of the first round? Absolutely, right? But when other teams start drafting other players, other quarterbacks, he's better than them. And I think it's just the fact that all the rumors are that he tried to do like his father, and the teams that he thought he would not be available for, he basically poo-pooed him, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then the last straw was he went to the Giants because my understanding, everything that I've heard, is he did not do well in the interview with the Giants. And a lot of people say that he didn't do well because he didn't think the Giants would draft him anyway, right?
yeah,
So, but regardless, he should not have done that. And he burned a lot of bridges. But the fact that he dropped to a fifth round pick, I think the league actually decided to make a statement. And, which I feel like is unfortunate for this kid. but he kind of brought it on himself.
But he's still in the NFL. He has a chance to make it up.
He does. But
your second contract is really where you make all your money anyway.
But the fact that he dropped to the 5th, is like Cleveland's basically like, oh well, you know what? If we draft him, he doesn't pan out, we'll just cut him. Instead of drafting him in the second round, and then kind of being obligated to some point to him. So I kind of feel a little way about it. I feel bad for him, but at the same time, you know what? He kind of made his own bet, But as a Steelers fan, I'm highly disappointed that the fact the Steelers did not draft him, especially with him falling all the way to the 5th round when the Steelers desperately need a quarterback. And, I'm sure when they talk to Mike Tomlin, eventually it'll come out. See, so the biggest problem with a lot of these coaches right now is they can't come out and say, oh, Shedour Sanders was not he didn't care. He didn't do the right thing. If you notice, the only way we're hearing about this stuff is from the reporters, and the reporters are not giving complete details on what happened. Because the coaches can't come out and say, Shedour Sanders is an ass, and he didn't take it seriously, so the hell with him. And that's why we didn't draft him. I'm glad he went to, drop to the 5th round. They can't say that because Deion Sanders is still the coach at Colorado, and he's still going to be tunneling in pro talent players. And they don't want to burn bridges with a guy who's a Hall of Famer and who has contacts in the NFL and who could justifiably get somebody in the NFL. You don't want to burn that bridge.
There's only been 2 quarterbacks that ever said, hey, I'm not playing for this team. You know who those 2 guys are?
I know one was Eli.
And John Elway. John Elway
said, right.
I'm not going. I think it was San Diego or something, maybe whatever.
John
I'm not going there.
Didn't want to go.
I'll play baseball.
Yeah, John Elway didn't want to go to the Colts.
It was the Colts,
That's right. The Colts were awful. And and you remember it was like I think the Colts actually it was the same time in which the Colts jumped up and moved in the middle of the night from
from Baltimore. That's right. It was Baltimore.
No,
it was.
They moved in 80. So I think they moved after Elway. So they were just a bad organization.
They were still in Baltimore, yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point is, if your talents are that good, you're going to get drafted.
Right.
They will overlook 99% of all the stuff if your talent is that good. So that's what they did with Eli. Like, whoever it was, like, okay, we'll trade your pick to whatever. Because I don't know who it was. Maybe it was San Diego that had the first pick. And they made a deal with the Giants, so that's where he went anyway. And whether Eli's a Hall of Famer or not, I don't want to talk about it. It just irritates me.
Right. It panned out for him.
It panned out for the Giants, panned out for Eli, because he's making a commercial just like Dion all day long on Sundays.
It helps that his last name is Manning.
It absolutely helps that his last name is Manning. If his older brother didn't exist, he may have a furniture commercial in New Jersey.
Some local commercial in Cincinnati.
That's right. Yes, whatever it is. But since it's Manning and his brother is Peyton Manning.
Right.
Yes. Just like their nephew, Arch, which is an odd name.
Right.
He hasn't even started a game yet, and he's like the greatest Manning yet.
Oh, they already said. They've already said he may be going number 1 next year.
Yeah, and he hasn't even started a college game. Is that right?
No, he has. Right. The guy who was actually the quarterback got hurt, and he started.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He played
he started because the guy got hurt. He didn't start because his talents brought him there.
Right.
All right.
But this is supposed to be his team now. The guy who was the starter left.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So anyway. So
all right. Well, that's all I got for this show.
Yeah,
Remember,
I think that's
folks,
all I got.
if you get to play in the NFL or any pro sport, you should look at that as a great accomplishment. You know how many people are make the NFL? Around 650 players are playing in the NFL at any one time out of the entire world.
Right. And
Yeah, that's an
here's the thing.
exclusive club.
Here's the thing. I'm sure you've done it. I've done it. Fans watch TV and they go, "Oh, that guy is a bum. He
Yes,
sucks.
this guy's a
He
bum.
can't play with I don't know what." I don't care what sport it is, whether it's football, basketball, or baseball, or whatever sport. If they
Professional
are pro,
pickleball.
huh?
Yeah, professional pickleball.
Right. If they
That's
are
right.
pro,
Yeah,
they are better than anybody else. Whether
Yep.
they are the last person on the bench, they
Yeah.
are 100 times better than some regular Joe sitting on his couch
That's right.
who exercises and goes to the
Yeah.
gym every day.
Yeah.
They
used
are
to have
better.
they used to have a
much-
show called Pros versus Joes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. If you think you're better than that guy because he's coming off of the bench, you need to know you're worse.
Yeah. You better check yourself.
Much worse.
Yes. But we're fans, and that's what we do.
That's right.
All right. So that's all I got. So we're going to sign off for now. Remember, folks, like and subscribe because we need to go $1 zillion because we need to get season tickets to the Dog Pound. I'm a fan, man. You didn't know that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So long, everybody. Peace.
So long, everybody.